Hi gang, yeah, just reclining in my extensive backyard. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Get it? Ask Me Anything, ask me anything. We've really pushed the boat out for the good, the bad and the rugby. I'm even answering fans' questions. You know, that's the kind of guy I am now, doing a lot of work for charity, don't like to talk about it, helping out the loyal fans who have made the good, the bad and the rugby the #1 podcast in the world for 3 or 4 weeks running. Who's counting? I am. We've got some questions from some fans. So, Spencer Garnett, did you swap shirts with the opposition? If so, what is the best shirt you've got in the collection? I have swapped shirts a number of times. I think my favourite shirt is maybe I got an all black shirt from Jerome Kano, I think. I also swapped a shirt with Sergio Parise, which was quite good. Some players wouldn't swap shirts, but to be honest with you, mine would have been really baggy on them and sort of really loose around their arms because of the pipes. David McBriar, did you feel your experience playing in different leagues, Super Rugby, benefited your game, and would you recommend playing in other leagues to other players? Yes, I think my experience did really help me playing in other leagues and playing Super Rugby because I think it dispelled the myth that New Zealand players were playing a magical type of rugby that I couldn't understand, that I was able to pit myself against other competition, and that I felt that I was good enough to be on that world circuit. Who would win a celebrity tag team wrestling match? Haskell and Chloe versus Tins and Zara. I've got to back me and my wife. However, Tins is overly aggressive, and Zed, I reckon Zed's got a little bit of something about her. She put a shank in a sock or something like that. But my wife's a bit of a pit bull, and obviously, I'm just a cage fighter, so I've got to be hard as nails. I haven't. Jake Marshall, obviously travelled around a bit. Which country team was the best experience? All of them are very unique. I absolutely love playing Paris, working under Max Grazzini, the owner. Playing 5 or 6 times a season at the Jeu de Stade. It's not the Jeu de Stade, the Stade de France, even the Jeu de Stade's the naked calendar. Don't Google that, lads. Girls, I highly recommend it. And I also think Super 15 was amazing. I was probably the first English player to ever go and play there for a New Zealand side. If you're going to go and play Super 15, you have to go to a country which absolutely lives and breathes rugby, which New Zealand does. And then again, Japan, culturally, what an incredible place. I learned a lot about myself, about being self-resilient and self-reliant, so that was quite good. Martin Dickinson, did you and Faz ever have that coffee? We did have that coffee. He wasn't comfortable going one-on-one with me. I don't know why, but we actually did have a coffee together in a group location. I was sort of sitting here, he was sitting somewhere over there, and I would wave quite a lot, but he always had stuff on his phone or other people to speak to, but I knew he felt the connection. David Howarth, would you ever go into coaching, and why not? Would I ever go into coaching? The answer is I would happily do some consultancy work around breakdown, tackle technique. I don't have the mental fortitude or capacity to be a head coach. You also have to, coaching is so much about relationships and dealing with people. I think I'd be quite good at that, even though I'm a bit like Marmite, everybody loves me or hates me. But I just don't have the analytical brain. I don't want to sit through hours of footage dictating game plans. I think I could be a DOR, get a good coach underneath me, steer the ship, do all the press conferences, but otherwise no. And Eddie, when I retired, he sat me down and was like, look, do you want to go into coaching? I was like, no. And he goes, good mate, because there's no money in it. Go away and earn your cash and come back to coaching. And I'm trying to earn some cash. Chris Brownlow, why the transition into MMA from rugby? It's a good question. The reason I wanted to do something was I missed being a professional sportsman. I wanted to test myself. I've always been a big guy. People always think because you're big you're going to be tough. That's absolutely not true. People always think that you might be able to handle yourself. That's absolutely not true. Most people with even 6 months of boxing training or MMA training are going to cause you some problems. I went into London Shoot Fight, an incredible gym, and found out that I was absolutely Fisher Price at everything. So it was a great mental test. Obviously, COVID has put pay to that. I trained every day, 6 days a week for 6 months to prepare for that first fight, and it got postponed. So I've now got to work out what I'm going to do next. Can I have a free signed copy of What's a Flanker, please? That's David Guinea. No, you can't, because charity starts at home and the Haskell Foundation needs some cash. Kieran Phillips, if you could punch anyone in the face with no repercussions, who would it be? Who would I want to punch in the face? Oh, God. It's a really interesting one. There's no one in the rugby world I want to punch in the face. I think some Oh, I'll tell you who I'd like to punch in the face. Some of those Americans that evangelical Americans, I'd quite like to punch in the face. You know, the ones that stand outside like soldiers' funerals, and the guy was getting like, "You're going to hell." Someone like that, I'd love to just run my pickup truck, or not pickup truck, just punch him in the face. The pickup truck was a bit aggressive. Chris Sear, who do you want on the show, and the last person you would have? I would like to have a wide variety of people on the show. I would like to get into some other sports. I'd love to get Stuart Broad on. You know, because of what he's achieved in cricket, and James Anderson, really interested to see going to delve into other sports. I'd love to get some actors and film stars on. Henry Cavill, I'd love to know what it's like to interview Superman and see what he's got to say. Who's the last person I would have on? Really dry, boring people who normally found wearing blazers telling you that the game was good in the old days, when they're wearing jam jar glasses. I'm not sure what they can see now, let alone what they could see back in the day. Adam Malone, you played for Wasps before and after their relocation. Do you think the move was a positive one? Do you think there's room for a franchise model in English rugby? Look, I think the move was a positive one. I think without the move, Wasps would have died. You know, we were getting 4,000 people to a stadium. You know, we turned that to kind of 17,000. And you know, we made no money out of the stadium deal, so the club would have disappeared. So there's a lot of people who turn around saying, "Well, we just sort of dropped down a couple of leagues and let Wasps disappear, and you've lost loyal fans." But the fact was that Wasps was never about the location. It was always about the people who played it. You know, we never had a home ground. So I think that worked. I think the franchise model can work. Look, it's business. You've got to create an entertaining brand of rugby. You have to get people engaged. You have to make things reasonably priced. You have to create the entertainment. And I think someone like Bristol, what they're doing with their social media, their interest, their signings, their branding, I think are kind of light years ahead of other clubs. And the old mentality of rugby's got to stop. You know, we've got to stop employing ex-rugby players who know nothing about anything apart from being good players and putting them into jobs, because it's just no good. Do you think the show this week was better without you? That's Gary Edmonds. No, look, I think you've got to have a bit of variety. You know, you can't have the captain of FC Barcelona there all the time. You've got to let other people have a go. You know, Alex, I mean, I was a little bit upset by how excited Alex was. He almost had a visible erection when Jason Ledder came on. Jason is, you know, one of the greatest storytellers in the game, an inspiration for me, someone that I want to be. Tins, you know, he's got to have his day in the sun. You know, yes, he doesn't have the chat, perhaps the looks, but he does have the rugby experience, and he's a well-respected pundit. And he also slags off the Irish and Welsh, Scottish, something I won't dare do. Simon Hamilton, who do you think was the most overrated player you played with? Overrated players. I think, look, there's a lot of players who get their tyres absolutely pumped up by the media, and the media have a lot of responsibility because they hype someone up and then they take them out of the knees. So I think it's something to really consider. Just because you see a player make a couple of line breaks and score some tries doesn't necessarily mean he's a great player. Where's he gone in defence? Does he have what it takes under pressure? You know, is he consistent, or is he just been hyped up by the likes of the papers who really want to see him do well, when actually the real rugby purists can see that perhaps he's not the best. Paul Cowley, which current rugby player would you not want an MMA fight with? I don't know, actually. Not really anyone. I mean, the problem is that someone like, you know, Trevor Anus from London Irish, you know, he can box. If you ever watch that video, you know, he was picking people off left, right and centre like Sugar Ray. It's always the blokes that are pretty quiet and humble that have had training. You know, it's the big ones like, you know, Eden Etzebeth, stuff like that, who people assume is going to be an absolute scrapper, but I don't think he'd be any use. Am I challenging him? I don't know. No, I'm not. 'Cause I'm not an idiot. I'm an idiot, actually. I might challenge him. Fuck it. James Coleman, what's your worst interaction with a fan? The worst interactions I've had with the fans are just rude, come out and offer your opinion, say that you're shit, to come up and make terrible jokes about your appearance, in really inappropriate things, get drunk, very grabby, hitting you on the back, the shoulder, poking you, ignoring people you're with, spilling drinks on you. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty endless, really. Taking photos of you without permission, filming you without permission, trying to wind you up to make you fight them. Yeah, that's pretty normal. Ed Simpkin, If you could be any athlete from another sport for a year, who would it be? I would love to be Floyd Mayweather. Quite like that. Obviously, you know, the wife beating to one side. So my lawyers have told me to say. I would also think someone like a pro golfer I'd quite enjoy, and maybe a Lewis Hamilton Formula One. We obviously have to have bigger cars, maybe like monster trucks, but I'd be quite keen to get involved. Charlie Goodright Moss, one of Alex Payne's mates, clearly. What's your advice for a young player intending to go pro? First of all, is, you know, relax. There is a 1%, 2% chance of you ever making it professional, and why I made it versus somebody else is anyone's guess. You know, injury, luck, right place at the right time play a role. What you can do your end to make sure that you do well is you can put the extra work in every single day. So break the game down into different core skills. No one ever got, you know, made a professional rugby player by having a mega body in the gym. It doesn't work, because if it was, I'd be captain of the world of rugby, and I obviously wasn't. So, you know, you need to break it down: handling, carrying, running lines, high balls, kicking, passing from the floor, you know, offloading, running position, ball carrying, speed, all these areas, and every single day work for 10 to 15 minutes extra every, you know, after every session to be professional. Find rugby players you aspire to be. Watch a lot of them on TV. You know, we have a lot of coverage now, so you can, you know, young players can stop, watch. You know, when I was younger, or when I was getting better, you know, wanting to get better, I'd watch footage of Richie McCaw, you know, Michael Hooper, Pocock, you know, Lawrence Ladio, Richard Hill, you know, Joe Worsley, and I would watch these guys continuously to see what I could do, and I would try stuff in training, and also enjoy it. Enjoy your rugby. Stop worrying about which school you're going to go to put you in the best shot window for rugby, because if you get tackled the first day and your knee falls off, what are you going to do then? You know, you can become a McDonald's drive-through specialist, but there's no point in paying all that money on your education or going to a really good school and coming out of it just being good at rugby. Try to be all-rounded. That is what I would do. Who makes you laugh the most? Bellyache stuff. That was actually, sorry, this is from Chris. Who makes you laugh the most? Bellyache stuff. I've had some real big belly laughs with Dylan Hartley before. Joe Marler I find quite funny. I think my best mate Paul Doran Jones is probably the one that I would overall say that I laugh myself hysterically, you know, to bits with, into tears, unable to speak, for various different reasons, none I can reveal now. This is George Green. Pick one Tuolangi to shag, marry, fight, cuddle, receive a hospital pass when they nail you. Okay, shag. Oh, this is a minefield, this question. Which one would I shag? Probably shag Manu. I'd probably marry Henry. No, I'd probably marry Freddie, because he's got the business head on. He'd make some good cash. Fight. Oh, flipping heck. I think there must be a Mama Tuolangi. I'd fight Mummy Tuolangi, even though she'd probably still kill me. Cuddle Henry, 100%, and receive a hospital pass while they nail you. Probably Alisana, I think, is what I would go with. Mr. B, will you see rugby players being comfortable and coming out while still playing? I think that's a really good question. I hope so. I mean, the state of the world now is we're making some great progress in some areas, we're going backwards in other areas. I really do think that it's important that people are able to express themselves and be free. And I would hate to ever have to turn up to training, work or family life pretending to be something that I'm not. And for me that's really important, and for me sexuality plays no role in being a good person or being accepting. I don't think it's important. You know, the old stupid stereotype of the sports fan, you know, or the rugby player saying, you know, if you had a gay guy in the shower, oh, what happens if you fancy me? Listen mate, you're minging whether you're gay or straight. The bloke's not blind, so never forget that. When people go a bit funny, go, oh, what happens if, you know, make other lads uncomfortable? If you're hanging, you're still hanging, gay or straight, never forget that. Johnny Scholes, 9. What's the most embarrassing thing he's ever seen on a rugby pitch, including running into posts? I've seen a teammate shit himself. That was pretty horrific. We had a bit of a runny tummy, went into a tackle, shat himself, and ran straight off the field into the change room, which is never good. I won't name him because it's a bit shameful. Richard Burkett was his name. Oops. Ollie Mays. What really happened on Tin Stag Do in New Zealand? If you want to know what happened on Tin Stag Do New Zealand, buy What a Flanker, out 1st of October, available in audiobook and hardback. Rob Pickup, who made the first move, Chloe or myself? It was 100% me. Chloe follows me on Twitter, so you can say that's a move, but I slid straight into her DMs, obviously, with a copy and paste messages that I sent to 6 other birds at the same time, but that's just the kind of operator I was, or arsehole, you decide. But anyway, yeah, I was the one who definitely chatted her up, and we are where we are now. JB Mellors, what's your favourite story that got cut from the autobiography? Ooh, that is a very good question. There was something that I cut. Oh, a night out with Stade Francais in Teen in pre-season camp. Yeah, some interesting bits and pieces there that went on that legally I had to remove. But we, you know, I'm not going to get sued. I probably will still get sued. Tom Menial, does your father-in-law still have the sick Ali G costume? I don't know. I don't know if he does, but I hope so, because I think that was some genius TV, as well as his Saturday night takeaway thing with Ant and Dec. But no, I've not seen it. But I did wear one of Judy's dresses actually for a team social. That's in the book as well. What a flanker. D. Shez, what is your proudest career moment? My proudest career moment is, I think, winning a Grand Slam with England, getting 50 caps, and you know, there's a few in there that are interchangeable. But I think, you know, winning a Heineken Cup, winning a Premiership, you know, winning stuff, I took that for granted earlier in my career because I was quite lucky to do it, and then it didn't happen after that very often. Ollie Cook 101. Who's the biggest fake hard man in English rugby? Ooh, fake tough guy. I'd say he's not a fake tough guy because he's a tough and he's one of my good mates, but I'd say Danny Care. Danny Care makes a lot of fuss. Will probably throw a punch and then run off quite quickly behind everyone else, which is always quite amusing. I think he punched Billy Vernapola in the face, which is a brave move, and when Billy kicked up he then ran behind a load of people. So he's not really a fake tough guy because he throws a punch, but he's also just self-aware. There's a couple of people as well, but I don't want to dispel their images because, you know, they've made a career out of being tough guys. Ed's TED Talk, top 5 binge use players of all time. Dave Walder at Wasps, Johnny Barrett from Wasps. Who sat on a bench? There's going to be some guys who sat on the bench loads for England. Never. Davy Wilson for England, he was an absolute bench warrior. That's 3. I'll go with those 3, I can't think of any more. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, listening to Ask Me Anything. This is going to be a regular feature, or maybe it might die a death, I don't know, but Ask Me Anything is really important to help me interact with the fans, so people at Good, the Bad and Rugby tell me, because your opinion matters.